The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back again, right here on The Local Show with Tom and Steve, the last bastion of interesting talk radio, right here on 570 WSYR. Steve has his adulation line.
Right here, the Steve adulation line. It's a text line.
It's a vanity line,
Tom,
John.
you know, Tom, you don't realize I forwarded this to you. You're going to get these. So 216-0273. You have a question for the show, you want to hear a guest on the show, you forgot someone's phone number, or who was that was on a few months ago, and maybe you needed whatever, but it's here, and reach out to us, we'll answer the questions. 216-0273. Or if you just want to comment and say how wonderful Tom's voice is, feel free. 216-0273.
And I believe that's the line that they can text the word chalet, because we're giving away that chalet in Vermont this year.
Absolutely. So yes, you want to do
text that number and put chalet.
It'll go to the 10th caller.
I think that's pronounced chiclet.
Yeah, it's not really chalet, it's chiclet. Attorney John Murphy is with us right now. He's the owner of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts, and brave enough to endorse the show for a couple of years here, which is very nice of you. Thank you. So, John, let's give people your history, because there are people out there who may not know you. You don't have to go deep into your history, but like the company's history.
Because it's not that interesting.
And I didn't mean it that way, but more about the company. So
on my third birthday.
Yeah, start with Phoenix, New York. Go ahead. We'll wait.
Phoenix, New York. It did all start, right? My parents had their own business there, and I decided to open up a law practice. It was a general practice, and we did okay, you know. And then long about the turn of the century, which is really weird to say.
Yeah, really.
My wife's grandmother was in a nursing home, and long story short, my mother-in-law came to me and said, "Hey, can you help get Mom on Medicaid?" We had no idea how much this was costing. And, you know, I had successfully been part of a lawsuit against Suzuki Motorcycle Company, against Zurich American Insurance Company, which was the biggest company, insurance company in the world at the time, right? And I got into Medicaid, and I had no idea what I was doing. Right. Things I knew to be true in the real world, like there's an amount of money you can give away and the government doesn't care, are not true in the Medicaid world. They care very much.
Right.
And so I had to humble myself, not only professionally, but to my family. I had to tell my family, right, that I couldn't help them. Mm-hmm. So 9/11 came along. It was just a great time for me to make a change. And I'm a big believer in manifesting destiny. So I had written all over my office that by the end of 2013, I was going to be completely done with my practice,
right,
and start a new practice.
And you did?
And I did.
Okay.
And we just opened up our third office. This month in Camillus.
Specific, so
3 Henry Beach Drive.
Only estate planning.
This is all we do: estate planning, Medicaid, probate, and guardianship.
Tell us about the third office.
Yeah, it's the old Steve McMahon office building, McMahon Law Office. And we're very grateful that Steve would allow us to go and kind of continue his legacy over there, because we're doing what he had done.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Now, it's not his practice. He had sold that previously, but he allowed us to buy that building. And it's right behind Americue off of Genesee Street, kind of almost right across from West Jenny High School. Yeah, between West Jenny and Walmart.
Absolutely,
Plaza. Right.
Yeah, and that's a big Walmart plaza over there.
Right,
too,
right.
there.
But with all your locations, you pull right up and you can park by the door. You don't have to go downtown and try to fight for a spot.
Steve's
or park.
Been part of that journey with me. It was always what is best for our clients. Right. We don't want them to have to go downtown. Most of the law firms that do what I do, you got to go downtown and park. Now, maybe that's not so difficult in the summer.
Right.
Maybe it's not so difficult before they start tearing up 81.
Right.
You know, but winter's coming and construction's coming, and you can pull in and park on our flagship office over on Buckley Road or in Camillus, or those of you in the North Country, you can pull right up to 200 Mullen Street. We actually have 2 reserved spots because it's a shared office building. reserved for our clients right by the door.
Yeah, but you go to like Liverpool, you go in, it's like a house.
Yeah.
The office, the furnishings, it's an office building, but you go in, there's a couch there, there's a rug. You don't feel like, the chandeliers are made of gold hanging down. It feels homey.
Yeah, we try to be the unlawyer lawyers, and just make it a nice place to come and do your business. For some people, it's a very emotional time.
Yeah,
absolutely. What we can do to make it comfortable and not stodgy. Yeah. If you look at our Google reviews, predominantly it's the staff, how people were treated, right? The legal process is the legal process. Everybody does it a little bit differently, but it's how we treat the folks who come through our door.
Yeah, you mentioned Medicaid. I think I've talked to people, lots of them. It's confusing. You said Medicaid. People are, well, I'm not poor. I don't need Medicaid. Explain how Medicaid helps protect your assets.
So, Medicaid gets a bad rap, really. It is there and will allow, if you can put yourself in a position to be financially eligible for Medicaid, and it's a lot easier to do than people would think. The thresholds are much higher. And if you're not already eligible and you need a nursing home, we help you become eligible as quickly as legally possible. Otherwise, you're going to have to spend down all of your resources, right? All of your savings, even your retirement. So if you don't have Medicaid to help you pay your nursing home bill, it's hard to believe the nursing home expects you to pay them for services rendered.
What's a nursing home cost these days?
About $16,000 a month. So you might have to dip into your IRA, your 401k, your 403b, your 457. You might have to cash out your your whole life insurance policy. Getting Medicaid says with regard to the retirement accounts, you can keep those. You don't have to spend those down. Now, when you take your required distributions, that's part of your monthly income. That's a contribution you make, kind of like a deductible. Sure. But if you had a $500,000 IRA, you don't have to deplete it.
Right.
But only if you get Medicaid.
Yeah.
If you don't get Medicaid, you need to spend your money to pay the nursing home bill. So Medicaid gets a bad rap. The other thing I hear is you're not going to get as good a service if you're on Medicaid, which is absolutely wrong. Number one, I think that's insulting to the people who are giving you care in the nursing homes, right? They don't know who's paying the bill. They don't care who's paying the bill. They care if they get paid.
Sure.
Right? So it is also illegal both at a federal level and a state level to discriminate in care based upon who's paying the nursing home bill. So the only difference is Medicaid won't pay for a private room. And I'm not so sure that when you're isolated in a nursing home that it's always in the best interest not to.
Sure, yeah, I get you.
Some
people will say to me, I have a will, so I'm all set, in terms of the wealth that I'm going to distribute to my kids and everything like that. I don't need anything else. What do you say to that?
Well, if you want to, wills are kind of like the full employment act for attorneys. Okay, because and I'm all for that, right?
Right.
So because a will has to go through the probate court in order to work. People don't understand that. They think I have a will, this automatically happens, right? My executor can go and do what I've asked them to do. They can't because they're not the executor unless a judge says they're an executor. And it's not they approve of them as a person. What the judge wants to know is, was the will correctly executed? Okay, was it witnessed by two people that are not inheriting from you? Okay. Did everybody who would have inherited from you when you died, normally the children, but if you don't have kids, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, whoever that might be under the law, did they get a copy of this will? Because they have a right to contest it. Okay, and you got to go through all those formalities before you can use your will. And I never would have thought about this until about March or April of 2020. What if the court's not open?
Yeah.
Right.
Our courts were closed for about 12 to 14 weeks, and people who had died, nobody could do anything with their estate.
Yeah, well, you were talking about your staff, and I know some of the folks over there, all the folks over there.
All the way.
And they are amazing.
Oh, they're
so
fantastic.
If there's questions, maybe someone has an old will, is it good enough, or we want to change it? Or you said this years ago, trusts aren't just for rich people. They're actually more for middle class than they are rich people.
Right.
So to have that conversation, they could call 370-9977, 370-9977, talk to a case manager, and you go to Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts, and you'll see all the info there. And absolutely check out the reviews too, because for some reason, John, people like you. I don't know why.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there we go.
You have a great rest of the day, John, okay?
You too.
All right. Anthony Valerio is coming up next, owner and founder of Four Winds Chimney, right here on the local show on 570 WSYR.